And welcome to Gentle Yoga. I'm Anne and I will be your yoga guide today, but you will be your own teacher as we move throughout the practice, starting with a seated posture, sitting up on the edge of my block. Okay, there we have it. So much happening here. I just want to take a moment to take a picture of my setup so that you can see it. I'll send this around in a newsletter. I have a huge monitor and all of you up on that monitor so I can see into each living room. So welcome if you're joining me live or if you're watching the recording today. We're going to do a little bit of work for the sides of the body, stretching the sides of the body, breathing into the sides of the body. And it kind of got me thinking a little bit about lateral movement in general and also side movement as it pertains to my practice. You know, we tend to think of our lives as this linear progression up, attaining better and better things, you know, progressing up, reaching our goals. And we all know that that is just really not how life works. You know, it is not this linear progression reaching towards a happy ending, you know, and reaching new heights every day. We know that it ebbs and it flows, right? And sometimes it's really useful to have goals that include lateral movement, right? Just staying where you are and maintaining what you have. And that has been sort of my thing the last couple days, just being in my zone that I'm in right now. I'm not learning any new poses right now. I'm not learning any new breath techniques. I'm just grounding myself in the tools I already have. So we're going to be exploring, you know, side movement, and you know, there may be some new postures with the side movement that kind of uncover the use of these side muscles. So that could be interesting to explore. We're going to get started as we always do, centering and breathing just a little bit. So welcome to the mat. Find your tall spine, find a way to sit that feels natural for you, and welcome as well to Amy's guest. So happy to have you here. We'll say hello, we'll meet after class. Maybe you could rest the hands in the lap, softening the gaze down, or closing the eyes altogether and seeing if you can just explore the feeling of the breath, moving in at the nostrils and out through the nostrils. Taking a few clearing, cleansing breaths to start. Knowing that you can always exhale through the mouth, especially if you need to release a little bit more stress or tension, or you're feeling hot, you can exhale from the mouth. So taking a few more breaths here. One of my favorite, you know, all-time, you know, do it every day type of breath practices is literally just to count the breaths. And, you know, I observe my mind like a radio going to all different stations, but then that count of the breath keeps me anchored. So see if you can count 5 breaths in a row. Inhale 1, exhale 1. Inhale 2, exhale 2. Inhale 3, exhale 3. Let's continue on. Very good. I hope that breath counting can be a useful tool for you too. I'm going to go ahead and just rub my hands together. I'm going to go over to Deb's house in my mind and get by her fire. She's got roaring in the background, warm myself up on this dreary day, at least down here in the Philly area. And I'm going to place my hands on my side ribs, right here on my side ribs. I'm going to take a few breaths, just noticing the movement of my ribs as I breathe. Just noticing the movement of my ribs. Not trying to change anything about it, but just noticing. And then I might explore trying to use a little bit more of those intercostal muscles between the ribs to lift my ribs out, flare the ribs out to the sides, and release the ribs back down. This is the very first breath practice I ever learned before I even learned yoga, from my cognitive behavioral therapist who was helping me with anxiety. Now, why would this be good for anxiety? Sometimes when we panic, right, we are not able to breathe. We just can't catch a breath. And this breath technique shows me that I have this other place to go, right, out to the sides. And it kind of smooths out my breath in a new way, gets me to focus on something a little bit different. But even if you don't have anxiety, right, this can help improve your lung capacity. Taking a few more breaths. You could even bring the hands down into the lap and just continue trying to bring the breath into the sides of the body. Flare the rib cage out. And I'll tell you that those muscles, the intercostal muscles between each rib, actually are responsible for 25% of our respiratory effort. The diaphragm is in charge of the rest. So, we often tend to neglect the use of the intercostals. This will help you get a deeper breath. Okay, so we'll be exploring that a little bit more throughout our class. Wanting you to kind of get moving a little bit now, I'm going to touch down with that left hand. Inhale the right arm up just as far as feels safe for you this morning, right? And we're breathing into that right side body, maybe revealing a little stretch to those intercostal muscles, right? And I like to explore, how deeply I want to stretch here as we switch sides, touching down with that right hand, lifting with the left hand. Kind of airing out the armpits too. We'll take one more on each side. Big breath in. Right, maybe stay here for another breath. Maybe you could imagine that you have gills that can open on the sides of the body and take in oxygen. When you're ready, moving to the other side. Very good. And releasing. Let's crawl forward onto hands and knees. I know my knees and my ankles could use a little bit of something different. So I'll just take my blocks to the side and set up my firm foundation. So come on down to cat-cow with me. I'm going to spread my fingers wide. Right? If you have sensitive knees, you can pad up using a blanket or another mat. And I just begin to explore this arching and rounding of the back. Right? I'm just going to take my time and notice and bring my breath into the equation. Inhaling and exhaling with each movement. Now, if you're someone who tends to get a little foot crampy with the tops of the feet pressing, you can tuck the toes. Kind of give that little sense of relief. And you might tuck and untuck as part of the movement. Awesome. Coming back to neutral, I'm going to stretch my right leg out. And I might rock forward and rock back if I wanted a little bit of toe or foot massage, or I might just keep my foot planted. Then I'm going to lift my right heel up. This is something a little different. I'm going to bring this right leg over to the left side of my mat or even off the left side of my mat. And I'm going to take a peek over my left shoulder. So you feel that right side is airing out once again, and breathing into that right side, exploring how far you want to stretch. You could bring the foot over a little farther or bring it back, kind of just explore that range. And taking 2 more breaths here. And then releasing back. You might tuck the toes, sit back on the toes. Just take a little break on the wrists, take a little break on the knees. And then we'll come to the other side if you need a little wrist stretch. We'll come to the other side. So back to hands and knees. Left leg reaching long. Rock forward, rock back if that's in your practice today. And then I'll lift my left heel up and cross it over the midline and take a peek over my right shoulder. So I'm airing out that left side of my body. Big, nice stretch for the side body. How does that feel, guys? It's nice, right? Something a little different. Breath in, breath out. Yeah, that's nice, Amy. Kind of using a little bit, getting a little extra air there. And then releasing back. I'm going to come to a brief child's pose. So knees apart, toes tuck is the way I like to do this. If you have another way you like to do child's pose, feel free to access that. And I'll just walk my fingertips forward. I'm going to keep my fingertips tented today as I place my forehead down onto a block or blanket or the mat. So I have these like angry piano player hands. And this is going to allow me to air out my armpits even more. I could walk the fingertips forward. And now just taking a few breaths into the back side of the body, into the back. All of that lung capacity that you can explore unencumbered by any of the vital organs like the heart in the front of the body that press onto the lungs. Good, and then we'll slowly make your way up. Reset your foundation of your tabletop, right? And then we'll tuck the toes under and lift into down dog, carefully maybe keeping the knees bent to start, really lifting the sit bones up, and then maybe pushing down one foot at a time, pedaling out the dog, or walking the dog as we sometimes call it. Right, and you're going to make your adjustments there. For you, Deb, that's good. Right, lifting those hips. And then you might find a few breaths where you're just still. That's great, Leanne. You got it, Ted. Just taking a peek back at the toes. Can you notice for a moment whether your ankles roll in or roll out, or whether they seem pretty balanced? Okay, we're going to come forward to a brief high plank. You might need to walk the feet back. My shoulders are right over my wrists. I'm pulling my belly up and in, just sort of towards the spine, like tipping the pelvic bowl back. Nice, Deb. And then I'll come down, all the way down to my belly. So transitioning down all the way down to the belly with the hands framing the rib cage and the forehead resting just for a moment, setting up for my mini back bend, my baby cobra. Really zip up the legs, push the pubic bone down into the earth, and then lift like a cobra coming up out of a basket. Lift the head, lift the heart, squeeze the elbows alongside of the body. That's good, Judy. Find your breath and tuck the chin a little bit so you're lengthening the back of the neck. Just find this pose for yourself. And as you're ready, take a moment to breathe with the head resting, the cheek resting, the arms at the sides come all the way down. Allow yourself a moment to surrender. Just a moment to surrender to stillness, just being still, doing nothing. Good, and then we'll slowly peel ourselves up. We're going to roll onto the right side. Now, you might be comfortable with cradling the head in the hand, or you could use a pillow, the block like a pillow, or another option is you could come up onto the elbow if you need to stay a little bit more lifted. You know, for me, with the side lying, I really do like to have my head down. I feel like I get a little bit more out of it. But for example, Larry, you might be able to access this if you come up a little bit higher. So I'm not sure if this is doable for you, but we'll see how this works. We're just going to be lifting the top leg up and take a peek down. See if you can point your top toe down. And I've got my left hand in front of me for support, pointing that top toe down, and we'll take a few more presses. So bring the leg down. Inhale, lift and hold for 3 seconds. Release down. Inhale, lift and hold. 3, 2, 1. Release down. You feel the side body working, lifting. 3, 2, 1. And let's do 2 more. Side leg lifts, we'll call them. And down, and last one. Maybe you're moving a little more quickly than me, and that's fine. And now I bring the leg down, hover the foot a few inches above the other leg, bend that top leg, see if I could carefully reach back and grab onto either my pant leg, right, or my ankle or my foot, and just give a little quad stretch here. Just giving a little quad stretch, kind of keeping the knee down towards the other leg. That's good. And then I'll go ahead and release. See if I can swing my top foot around and place that top foot down in front of me. Now, this is a little tricky. If this is not accessible to you, you can just lay the foot down in front, or you can put it on top of a block. The idea here is that we're lifting the bottom leg up for some adduction, we call it. So you feel that bottom leg working as you lift the bottom leg up and release it down a few times. That's good, Ted. Grab what you need. Right, maybe place it on the lowest setting. That's good. So we're just lifting this bottom leg up a few times. And then let's let it go. Good. We'll just go ahead and roll onto the belly to transition. We'll take a moment or two here in Sphinx Pose. So I've got my elbows underneath my shoulders. My hands are just straight out. My legs are energized. Once again, kind of pushing the pubic bone down into the earth. Draw the heart forward. Breath in. You can feel the upper back working. And then we'll slowly just roll onto the other side. Now, if you're rolling away from me and you need to see me, that's okay. You can just kind of swing the legs around and get onto that left side. Cradle the head in the hand or rest on the elbow if you need to stay a little bit more lifted. The hips and the legs are in line, right? So it's one long line. And we're gonna lift that top leg. See if you can point the toe down. You're gonna get a little more out of it with the toe pointed down, and then release the top leg. That's good. Inhale, lift, hold, 2, 3, and release down. Inhale, lift, 2, 3, release. That's good, Francois. Inhale, lift, 2, 3, and release down. Got it. Well, one more. Lift, 2, 3, and release down. Going for my quad stretch now. Just grabbing onto what's available. Feeling the front of the leg stretch. Feeling that right hip open up a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and swing the top leg around to the front, right? Maybe I can get my foot down onto the earth, or maybe I just grab a block and place it under the knee. Whatever is available to you. And we're going to be carefully lifting the bottom leg up and releasing down. An inhale, lift. Maybe you can hold and release. And lift, hold, and release. Keeping your breath moving at your own pace. Good, maybe we'll take one more. And then let's go ahead and swing around to your tabletop pose. And then meet me balancing on the knees. Balancing on the knees. Taking a breath, right? Getting set here to transition to a standing posture. So I'm just going to bring one foot forward. Tuck the back toe under if that's available to you, and press yourself up. And come meeting me on the top of the mat in your mountain pose. And maybe we'll just kind of work out some of the kinks here. I'm going to lift up one leg and open it to the side like I'm stepping over a hurdle. And maybe the opposite arm moves. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe I keep my hands on my hips. Maybe I do this really slowly. And that is a little bit more challenging for balance, of course. And of course, I'm always looking for ways to challenge you guys. But, you know, I'm aware that doing too many new things can sometimes be too much. So if you want to keep doing the hip rotation dance, you could do that. I'm going to now try to lift one foot and tap the hand to the foot as I lift it behind me. And this may or may not be available to you, but I'm tapping my toe behind me, and then I might stretch that arm up overhead to stretch my side body a little bit. You know, before class, I turn on the tunes and I kind of warm up down here, and I was just dancing around, and this is how this came up. And I thought, you know, this really does feel good in my side body, and it's a good stretch too. Good balance challenge. Maybe we'll take one or two more. Good. And then releasing back to center. I'll take a little forward fold. So I'm going to set up by bending my knees. Right? I might get to this part and think, well, you know, my back is kind of hurting me today, and maybe I just want to extend. Right? Or maybe I could drape myself over my thighs and allow my head to hang. If you want the ragdoll forward fold, you could grab opposite elbows. And once again, an invitation to take a peek at your feet, see if the ankles roll in or out, and you could make some adjustments. The ankles really roll in. You could bring some more weight into the pinky toe. The ankles roll out. You could bring some weight into the big toe. Maybe you're nice and balanced. Either way, you could bring weight into both the big toe and the pinky toe. And then when you're ready, taking the slow road up, maybe with a flat back. Got my hands on my hips. I'm going to lift all 10 toes. Lifting all 10 toes. Seeing if I can place just the big toe down. Lift the big toe up. See if you can place just the pinky toe down. Right? And maybe the toes don't do this, and that's okay. Yeah, you can do this seated. Yeah, if you need a little massage, it's good, Amy. Taking care of your feet. Big toes down, pinky toes down. And if we're working towards toe dexterity, which is so important for the way the whole foot functions, And that transfers up into the ankles, the knees, the hips, even the shoulders can feel the impact of things going on in the feet. If your toes don't quite do this yet, you can manually manipulate them. Right, Leanne? Right, we're doing some manual manipulation with her toes. Just working on getting a little bit of dexterity there. Good, and then releasing. All 10 toes down will lift up onto the tiptoes. And release down 3 seconds. Maybe the arms come into this. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Nice and slow. That's good. So if you do roll out to the edges, bringing your weight on the inside edges, and if you tend to roll in, make those adjustments, or try to just stay balanced between the big toe and the pinky toe. Good, we'll take one more and release. That's good. I'm going to step my right foot forward and the left foot back at a little bit of an angle and come into my warrior 1 foot posture. So I'll bend into this right knee and straighten the right knee a few times, just kind of see how this feels. And then I'll kind of swivel my hips to the front of my mat and bring my awareness to my feet, to my knees. So I find what feels the most stable for me. And then let's inhale the arms all the way up, reaching towards the sky. You could keep the hands apart, facing each other, or you could hook the thumbs together. And maybe that allows you to kind of lift the heart a little bit more. Taking care here, not to forget about the pelvic bowl. And that pelvic bowl, right, you want to retain everything in there, nothing spilling forward, nothing spilling back. So for me, when I get into Warrior 1, I have everything spilling out the front. So I want to kind of make that adjustment and pull the belly towards the spine. That's good. Big breath in, breath out. And now I might, because I'm looking at stretching my side body today, I might take a little tiny side stretch to the right. If this impacts the balance too much, you can stay centered. That's good, Judy. And then releasing back to center, I'll bring my hands to heart center. And let's see how it would feel to step to mountain pose and lift that left leg. And I might hold here. I might take a few moments to get there. When I get there, I might roll my ankle a few times. I might keep a little bend to my standing knee. Good. And then I might just shake everything out. Take a sip of water if you need it. Right, and then we'll switch it up. Left foot forward, right foot back. That right foot is at a little bit of an angle, and I'm bending and straightening into the front knee a few times. Till I find what feels like a nice stable position for me. The back leg is straight and strong. Right, taking care here. Warrior 1 with the left foot forward. Hips square to the top of the mat. Maybe the arms rise up. Maybe you hook the thumbs, the opposite thumb on top. Lift the heart, tilt the pelvic bowl back. Notice what's happening with the feet. Breath in, breath out. That's good now. Nice job, Goldens. Feeling the Warrior 1 strength from your house and the nieces as well. And we'll bring the hands down to hearts. Oh, we forgot the side stretch, sorry. Let's do a little side stretch to the left. All right, Tilly's in the game. And release to center, hands to heart center. We're going to explore stepping to the top of the mat and coming to a one-legged mountain, but you get there however you need to. Right? Maybe we roll that ankle. That's good, Larry. Keeping the breath moving. Good, and releasing down. Let's take a little walk to the back of the mat. Take a little walk to the back of the mat. Bring your feet together. All right, Leanne is ready to rumble here. Love it. Bring your feet together and then step the right foot forward. We're walking our balance beams. You're at the back of your mat. You're going to walk to the front and walk to the back. And we're going to take our time. And if this is super, super easy for you, try doing it with your eyes closed. Right? Try doing it nice and slow. Or maybe it's a slow blink. When you get to the top, go to the back, but walk backwards to the back. Good, Beth. It's a little tougher this way, but it's really good for the knees to walk backwards, is what my teacher says. Good. One more time, we'll walk to the top of the mat, wherever you are. Maybe this time you challenge yourself to close the eyes a little bit. Good, and then releasing to the top of the mat. I'm going to go ahead and grab my strap. Grab my strap. If you don't have a strap, you don't really need one. You can just interlace the fingers behind the back, right? That's okay. Or you could grab a dog leash or a robe sash or a tie. Over the pandemic, I learned so many ways to use things that are not actually yoga props. Okay, so I've got my strap in my hands, a little wider than shoulder distance. And I'm just going to lift that strap up, light tug on the strap, and release back down. Let's do a total of 5 lifts. Inhale. Exhale. Doesn't matter how far up you come. Good, you got it, Deb. Palms facing away from the body. Right, maybe the last one you hold at the top. Good, and then we'll release. Bring the strap to the front. Take a nice wide stance with the feet. Arms out nice and wide. Lift the strap, V for victory, and we'll take some side bending once again. Side bending. Moving with the breath. Good, and then coming back up to center, see if you can widen out on the strap even more. And if the shoulders will allow, bringing the strap down behind you, all the way releasing. That's good. And then we'll just toss that strap to the ground. So I'm going to stagger my feet. And I'm going to drop my back knee down and come to balance on my knees for like a millisecond. And then I'll come to my hands and knees. Now I might want a block for this, so I'm going to grab a block. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that right foot off the edge of the mat. Grab the block in the right hand, right underneath the right shoulder. And I'm going to extend my left leg long and twist to the left so that I'm in a modified side plank here. So in my modified side plank, I might then lift my left arm up and over so you feel this big stretch of that whole left side of the body. Taking care that this right arm is right underneath the right shoulder. And then if you felt like you wanted to try something a little more challenging, you could bring that hand straight up and try lifting that left leg up briefly off the mat. Right? And then releasing it down. Right? Maybe that Left arm extends over the head. And then we'll do like a little side body crunch, lifting the arm, lifting the leg, and releasing back down. Good. Let's try one more. Lift, and maybe you hold here. All right. Nice job, guys. Challenging. And then we'll come back down to tabletop. Maybe you take a pause in child's pose. If you need a little pause here, take a pause in child's pose or any other pose that would feel good for you. Take a sip of water if you need it. And then we'll slowly come up, back onto the hands and knees. This time I have my block in my left hand, and I'm gonna slide my left foot off the edge of the mat, extend the right leg long, start twisting a little bit to the right, and coming up into my modified side plank. Modified side plank, my shoulder and my hip and my foot are all in line. And I might lift that right arm up, right? And all the way over. Make sure that left block, that left hand is right underneath the left shoulder. That's good. Don't force it. If it's not happening, don't force it. And then I might lift that right leg up and then extend the right leg long, reach the right arm all the way over my ear. So I'm doing this little side body crunch here. If this is too much on the knee, you know, if you've got things going on in the knees, skip it. Oh no, let's see, Deb is in the waiting room. How did that happen? You guys go ahead and do one more crunch. That's good. And then we'll release back down. Right, come up onto your tiptoes. Maybe you roll the shoulders a few times. Maybe you roll the wrists a few times. Yeah, and then let's go ahead and we're gonna come back up to standing. Right, so I'm gonna stagger I'm gonna step one foot forward, back toe under, and lift. Good, let's swing that right arm up, scoop underneath, draw the arm across the body, keep that shoulder nice and low. So just a shoulder stretch. Breath in, and you're back. All right, Deb. It's that darned internet. How many of you have said that to yourself this last year a few times? Oh yeah. Release to the other side. Lift the left arm, scoop underneath, draw the arm across the body. You got it, Mary Jo, nice. Just keeping that left shoulder nice and low. Breathing into that back body. Beautiful. And releasing. Okay, we're going to take a nice wide stance on the mat. This might mean you turn to face another direction. Right, we're going to be moving into a warrior two with the right foot as the leading foot. So go ahead and take that nice wide stance. My right toes will turn to the top of my mat or the back, depending on where you are. And that left foot will angle in. We're going to bend into this right knee. And this is one of those moments where I got to ask you to think about your feet again, right? If you really roll in, bring the weight on the blade edge of that back foot and on the pinky toe. And that when you bring the weight on the pinky toe of that right foot, you might notice that the knee wants to rotate out a little, and that's good to align the knee and the ankle. And now we'll lift the arms out equally in both directions. You might reach forward, reach back a little bit. We're moving into extended side angle, the pose we've been kind of working towards for this whole class. So I'm going to reach forward with my right arm and drape it across my front thigh. That left hand can be on the left hip for now. I'm not going to put much weight into my right arm. This feels like a lot, right? Left shoulder is going to be kind of back in line with the hip, like in our modified side plank. And then maybe that left arm lifts up and over, or you could keep it on the hip. Big breath in, right? Nice wide stance. It's a tough pose. Maybe the gaze stays straight ahead or lifts up through the armpit. That's good, Walt. So try not to crunch that right shoulder, a little bit of more space there. Yeah, that's good. And then we're going to slowly make our way up. Beautiful. All 10 toes to the side of the mat. Right, maybe a little bendy bounce or a hip circle. And turning to the other side. Left toes to the left. Angle that right foot and bend into the left knee. Notice the feet. Notice what the feet are doing. And then lifting the arms out into your warrior two to start. Just warrior two on the way to our extended side angle. I love this as a transition towards this pose. As I reach forward, I get all this length, and then I'll bring my arm down. Right, that left forearm across the left thigh. That right shoulder back in space, and that right arm reaching up and over, bicep towards the ear. Good. Not too much weight in the left arm, left shoulder. You feel that right side body working. Good. Inhale, make your way up nice and slow. All 10 toes to the side of the mat. And we'll lift the arms out. This is for you, Walt. I see you're twisting your torso. That's a good idea. Right? Often I'll get ideas by looking at what your bodies naturally want to do. So you can thank Walt for this one. It's a little torso twist. Courtesy of Boston. Good. And releasing back to center. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump my feet together. Once again, we'll go ahead and separate the feet, drop the back knee down, come to sit. Coming to sit with my legs straight out in front for a moment. Just kind of getting my bearings. And then I'll bring some space between my feet. However much space feels right to you. For a little wide-legged work here, wide-legged forward fold. So if you're somebody who gets into this pose and you immediately feel like your back wants to round forward and it's pretty difficult to stay lifted, stay as upright as you can and just lift the heels up off the earth, or even just make like you're going to, even if the heels don't lift. And then keeping that engagement in the legs, allow the heels to drop down if they've lifted. And you're just going to reach your heart forward, keep the back straight. You could use blocks in any way. You know, some of us are working on a more yin version of this with a bolster across the lap or under the shoulders, right? And then that person would be just rounding forward if they have the capacity to do so. Ted, is everything okay? Can't do this one, that's okay. You can have a less of a degree between the legs. Right? You could support yourself underneath the shoulders. Right? That's it. Beautiful. Good. And now everybody will come up and we'll just bring the soles of the feet together. Right? And there are some of those poses that I have to sit out too in classes that I do, you know, with my teachers. And I'm just like, no, my body doesn't do that. So here in our bound angle pose, I would love it if you felt like giving your feet a little massage. The balls underneath the big toes. All of these joints in the feet. There are 33 joints in the foot alone. 26 bones, over 100 muscles, ligaments, and tendons in the foot. The feet have something like 25% of the bones in the body or something crazy like that. Just a masterpiece, these feet. So if you can tell, I've been in my anatomy class again. Awesome, guys. Let's come to lie on the back. I'm going to come to lie on the back, kind of get situated, begin to wind down. We have a few more things to do, but we are moving into the wind down portion. So if there's anything you need at this time that would help you, for the final relaxation pose that you need to grab, now would be the time, so you don't have to get up for it. And that's me. I have to get my blanket. So go ahead and lie on the back with the knees bent and the feet planted. For me, sometimes I like a little neck support these days. And I might take a few breaths here. Notice how alive the sides of my body feel. See if I can do that side breathing in a reclining posture. Just taking a few breaths to transition. And then as you're ready, as it's available, hugging the knees in and rocking from side to side, massage the low back. We're going to do a little core work now. So I'm going to lift my feet all the way up and try to straighten my legs. The feet are together, the knees are together. I'll bring my arms out at the sides. And I'm thinking, Larry, about what you could do here. But let's just get this TikTok legs going. So in my TikTok legs, I'm going to be bringing my heels over to about 11 o'clock on the dial, over to the left, and then back through center and over to 1 o'clock. Right? So I'm just bringing my heels from side to side, staying with the 11 and 1 o'clock, and then eventually maybe moving to 10 and 2 o'clock on my TikTok legs. Everything is really zipped up. I've got my arms out to the sides with the palms facing down for support. I might even go a little bit farther, and I'm going to do this really slowly. Do this really slowly and feel this twist, feel the core work. Gary, you could do like a seated twist, I think would be good. If you wanted, or maybe some camels. Camel twists would be really nice. Okay, don't forget to breathe here. It's a lot of work, isn't it? Maybe we'll take one more on each side. Good, and then releasing the legs down. Removing any neck support. Straighten the legs long and bring the arms up overhead. You're going to walk your feet over to the right and walk your hands over to the right as well. So you're in the shape of a banana. Allow the shoulders to soften, allow the hips to soften. So you're just hanging out here. And you can feel that stretch, right? In that left side of the body. This is a yin posture. And it's literally called bananasana for the shape of the banana. So I'm just hanging out here, and normally you would spend like 2 minutes in this shape in a yin class, but today we'll just be here for like 30 seconds. You can feel that length. And when you're ready to shape your banana in the other direction, you can walk the feet over to the left, walk the arms over to the left, right? If there's some resistance in the shoulders, just soften the shoulders as best you can. Hanging out in your banana shape with that right side body, opening and stretching and kind of airing out that left side body, right side body. It's really nice to hang out like a banana, isn't it? Let's come back to center, and we're gonna bend the knees, plant the feet down, no neck support here, coming into bridge pose. In bridge pose today, I offer you the invitation to squeeze a block between the thighs. Before you do anything, right, we're gonna just squeeze that block and press down equally across the feet. All 10 toes, nice and wide. And then you can bend the elbows and bring the fingertips to point towards the ceiling, robot arms. The arms are right by the body. Push the upper arms into the earth to lift the heart and then lift the hips. You're still squeezing the block. All 10 toes are still working. And then you might, if you have a little more room here, and if it's easy to straighten your arms behind the back, you could interlace the fingers underneath the body. Wriggle the shoulders, get a little higher, right? Or you could stay in robot arms. And I'm squeezing that block. Just like we did last week, we're gonna lift all 10 toes. See if you can place just the big toe down. Lift all 10 toes, just the pinky. You could go back and forth a few times. And you could place all 10 toes down. And when you're ready to come out, before you come out, stretch the arms overhead and slowly set yourself down, feeling that one vertebra at a time, releasing down onto the earth until you feel that sacrum reach down. And if that felt really good, you could do another bridge pulse and come down really slowly. Maybe you're ready for some windshield wipers, right? So windshield wipers, we bring the feet to the width of the mat and just drop the knees side to side. Yeah, or a hugging in of the knees. That's nice too, as a counterpose to bridge. Now I'll bring my feet back hips distance apart, and I'm just going to cross my right knee all the way over the left and drop both knees to the left, arms out to the sides. Just a gentle spinal twist, right? So I've got both shoulders resting on the earth and my knees are over to the left. That's good, Ted. So just bringing your knees towards me. Both knees dropping towards me and the shoulders staying on the earth. Moving to the other side when you're ready. I like to cross the left knee all the way over the right and then drop my knees over to the right side. And you might use a little block to support the knees, or you might have the knees just side by side if that feels better. Just trying to keep that left shoulder melting into the earth. Good, and then you'll release back to center. We'll take one more shape here. I'm going to slide a block underneath my sacrum. Sliding a block underneath my sacrum. I'll stretch just the right leg long and the right arm overhead. Stretching the right leg long, right arm overhead. I might close my eyes and just bring all of my awareness into the right side of my body, from the fingertips to the right side of the face, the right shoulder, the right ribs, the right hip, all the way down to the toes, the whole right side of my body is infused with my awareness, lengthening, letting go. And then as you're ready, we'll switch sides, lengthen the left leg long and the left arm overhead. Right, so I've got my right knee bent for support. I might close my eyes and once again, bringing all my awareness into the left side of my body, starting with the left hand, left shoulder, left side of the face, left chest and side ribs, left hip, all the way down to the left toes. Feeling the whole entire left side of my body infused with this vitality, lengthening, letting go. And then as I'm ready, I might slowly come out. Make any other movements the body's asking for. If you wanted a little supported shoulder stand, you could lift the feet up with the hips still on the sacrum. I'm sorry, the block. Right? Or if you're ready to go right to Shavasana, maybe you're there already. Right? Just allowing the body to do what feels most natural to you in this moment. If it's more activity, or maybe you're ready for a couple minutes of just pure rest. Making our way towards 2 minutes of Shavasana. Getting all those supports you need to feel really comfortable. Maybe you put on those socks or you get some neck support, something under the knees. Coming to rest, very important part of our practice. We never want to skip it. Coming to rest with the feet apart and the arms about a foot away from the body, palms facing up. Releasing effort from the jaw, shoulders, allowing the belly to soften. Allowing the entire body to be still and do nothing. And then as you're ready, coming back into the body by taking a breath in through the nostrils, out through the nose or mouth. Finding small movement. Maybe licking the lips or swallowing. Feeling all 10 toes, all 10 fingers. Rolling onto one side. You could roll onto one side and linger a moment here. Take the opportunity to give yourself a little hug, little pat on the back. And then as you're ready, rolling up to sit. Finding that tall spine. This practice of yoga never ceases to amaze me in its transformative power. Whatever state of being I was in when I came to the mat has changed after my practice. And I'm so honored that you would come to the mat with me and, move through these poses and these breath exercises together. Let's go ahead and bring hands to heart center and close our practice with an optional Om, breathing in for one Om. And thank you so much for your practice. Namaste. Thank you guys. Great job today. Please feel free to stick around and chat if you like. I'm going to stop the recording now.